Hello besties, it is Becky here with Bestie Becky's Crafts, and as you can see I have all of my beautiful flowers put on a wire so that I can use them for my next and final stage of product that we're going to make today. I did put my daisies on a wire, and then I just backed them with a piece of green paper to cover up all the glue and so on. And I haven't bent them yet, just because I'm not quite sure where I'm going to put them in my little bouquet. So here are all my little flowers though, and I made just some leaves, some greenery. You can see that. Just cut out a punch and just put it on two sides of a wire to kind of be little filler spaces. So let's go ahead and see what I'm going to make to put these flowers in. And this is what we're going to make. A vase. It's kind of cool, isn't it? How the sides come out, just on the three sides. And then the back side is left open for us to put our sentiment on. And then inside we can fill with our flowers. We'll put some floral foam. I have that right here. I happened to get a 2-pack, and they're called mug plugs. I figured that they would work pretty good. I couldn't find any square one's quite the right size, so I'll have to trim just a little bit off, and I don't know, maybe even cut them in half. I'm not quite sure yet, but this is what we're going to make, and then I'll show you what it looks like with the flowers filled in it and all finished. Super easy to make. It looks a little complex, but it's really not. This is not my idea. I saw a couple videos on how to do it, and I modified it just a little bit to make it a little easier for me and to kind of give it my own spin on it. So let's go ahead and get started. So the paper pad I'm going to use today is called Classy Copper, and it's from DCWV. I probably got it Joann's. Aren't they the ones that usually carry this brand? Not quite sure. Either Joann's or Michael's. Lots of pretty papers in there. So I just picked two that I thought would look good with the flowers and coordinated together. And so I chose this pink, as you can see it, and it's got little white dots on it, and that will be the actual vase part in here. You can see, kind of, sort of, not really, because you don't see much of it, you just see a little bit of it. And then on the top I used this paper that looks like it has lace or a doily on it. So this you could do with just plain cardstock, just something that matches what you want the outside of your vase to look like. And I wrote everything on this side, and I'm not sure if you can see it or not. I'll zoom in a little bit here. So you cut your base of your vase at 7 3/4 by 11 inches. Alright, and then we're going to do some scoring. So I've got my scoreboard here. And my scores are written upside down, but I hope you can read them. Alright, so along the 11-inch side, I'm going to score at 2.5, at 5, at 7.5, and at 10. So basically the width of my vase is 2.5 inches, and this will just be the little piece that we glue. And so then we turn our vase piece to the 7 3/4 inch side, and we're going to score at 2 1/4 inches. Alright, So that's all we need our scoring tool for right now. We'll use it again here in just a few minutes. But we need to do some folding first. So we're going to fold. And it's kind of thick cardstock. So I'm going to be gentle when I fold it so that it doesn't tear. And flip it over here so you can see. So I'm just folding all the side pieces here. And then this is the little end piece that we're going to glue. And then I'm going to fold up, that's good, and we're going to fold up that bottom piece and burnish that also. Okay, so we've got all our pieces folded and burnished, and now we're going to do some cutting. So make sure I'm out a little bit further here so you can see. We're going to get our scissors, and we are going to cut out this small rectangle right here. Where that little 1-inch piece is, there's a little rectangle down here at the bottom that's 1 inch by 2 1/4. We're going to cut that out. We don't need it. So I'm just following the score lines. And I'm going to cut it out. Okay. And you can hold on to that for another project if you want, or throw it away. I have a tendency to keep all my scraps. And then what we're going to do is we are going to cut on all of our score lines down here beneath the 2 1/4 spot, and we're just going to cut up to that 2 1/4 fold. Do you see that? That shadow there, I can't see my last score. Alright, so we've cut up to that 2 1/4 score line. Okay? So now we're going to do some angle cutting just to make our folds a little bit nicer. So on this 1-inch piece, I'm just cutting a nice little diagonal to that score line. See? I'm going to do that on both ends. And it doesn't have to be a big angle. A small one is fine, just like so. And now we're going to do that on each of these cut lines along the bottom. So I usually come in, I don't know, a little bit over 1/8 of an inch, starting from the bottom and cut up to that corner. Like I said, we're going to do that on all of these cuts on both sides. This will just give our vase a nice folded bottom. Everybody likes a nice folded bottom, right? And real exciting here. Really doesn't take too long. And then I want you to be able to see what I'm doing, so I'm trying to hold those out of the way. And alright, now coming up on our last piece here. Can you hear the thunder outside? This big thunderstorm warning, and it rained and thundered and not a whole lot happened, and we really need the rain. Okay, so as you can see, I even cut an angle on that outside edge there. Okay, so let's get rid of all of our little pieces here, and now we're going to do some gluing, the fun and exciting part. Alright, let's set this off to the side. I'll put it over here. We're going to cut some chipboard pieces. So, we're going to cut 4 chipboard pieces that are 2 3/8 by 5 3/8. So you can see that. And these are going to be the side pieces of our vase. This is just going to give us some stability to our vase. So we are going to go ahead and glue 3 of these onto our vase. So take one out of the way here, and we're going to start doing our gluing. Oh, I got something in my eye. Okay, so I'm just going to use wet glue for this and put it on my chipboard piece. And then we're going to center it in between the score lines. So we're going to center it in between the side score lines, so you want to make sure that your vase folds and your bottom folds up. And just do it again. We're going to do 3 in a row. We're going to leave that one on the end for last. Okay. Again, same thing. Just make sure everything folds. Oops. And then our final one. You can use any glue you want. If you wanted to use tape, tearaway glue, you could do that. You could use art glitter glue. Tacky glue, anything. Okay, so there's our 3 pieces glued on, and I'm just going to go on the back side and make sure they're glued down firmly. I was gluing earlier, so I have glue on my fingers. Alright, so we've got that part done. Now we need to glue our box together, and how we're going to do this is I'm going to use tearaway tape, because I want it to stick right away. So I'm just putting it up close to that score line. I'll use my scissors here and just give it a cut. And then I have to use my 1/8 of an inch score tape, because I don't know what happened to my 1/4 inch. Might need to dig some out. So sorry, my hand's in the way there. Oops. Just need to get it started. There we go. Alright. Oops. I'll just throw stuff around. Alright. Got it. And then burnish it. And then go ahead and tear off that paper backing. Yeah, I see these ladies that do these craft videos, and they have these beautiful nails. I don't know how they keep those beautiful nails. Definitely not me. Alright, so I don't know if you noticed that. What I did was I folded over in between those first 2 chipboards, fold it over, and then I'll fold this last piece over and it'll line right up with that score line and give you a nice box. Ta-da! No fiddling with it or anything. So then you just kind of fold it again, make sure everything's good, and now let's glue the bottom of our box, okay? So we're just going to fold our pieces in. It doesn't really matter how you fold them in, because you're not going to see them. So I personally, though, like to put a little bit of glue on my inner pieces then on my outer pieces, I'm going to figure out which one I want as my outer top piece, I guess. And I think I'm going to make this one. Not that it really matters. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put more glue on this one. Go out to the edges, like so. And push that down. Ooh, wind's picked up. More rain's coming. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. We're going to square up our box. Alright. And then we need to push down on the inside of our box. Hopefully my head doesn't get in the way. And I'm just using my bone folder. And we're going to get all that glue glued down. You could use a Sharpie, the end of a pencil. Ooh, end of a pencil would be good because it's flat. Just make sure we get that good and stuck down. Alright, so there we go. I'm going to set this aside and just let it dry. Well, actually, before I set it aside and let it dry, let's glue in that last piece of chipboard, our back piece. And then we'll just kind of leave it alone for a little bit to dry. So I'm going to put some glue on this last piece of chipboard just to give our vase all kinds of stability here. And this one's easy because you just slide it in till it falls to the bottom. Oops, moved on me a little bit there. And then you're just going to press it down with your bone folder. Just make sure you got a good seal on it. Push it down so it's even with the top of the other pieces of chipboard, even though you're not going to see it. Alright, so that looks good. Alright, so we have the base of our vase. So let's set that side to dry, and we are going to cut our outside pieces. These pieces right here. So these pieces are, you'll cut 4 of them at 2.5 by 8 inches. And then we're going to score 3 of them at 2.25. And this is just what I came up with as it giving me the right amount of bow right in here, bowing, that I want. Okay, I kind of messed around with it a little bit to try and figure out what I liked and what I didn't. So I went ahead and scored 2 of them already at 2.25. So I'm going to go ahead and score my front piece here at 2.25, and you're going to do that along the 8-inch edge. And here's my tool. So there's 2.25. I know. I think nope. Not quite done. I'm still going to use probably my scoring tool there. What I used to score with, I should say. Alright, so what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go ahead and fold on that 2.25 inch score line, and I'm not going to use my bone folder to do this because I don't need a real crisp fold, because it's going to go over the top edge of our vase, and it just doesn't need to be super crisp. There we go. So we have our 3 pieces that will bow out on the sides of our vase, and what I've gone ahead and done is put tearaway tape along the bottom of the 3 edges. You can see that, just to save us some time. And I went ahead and used this is the 1/2 inch, yeah, the 1/2 inch size. Okay, so now we can scoot those out of the way and prepare our vase. So we have a front, two sides, and then of course a back. I mean, hello, duh, right? So I'm using for my back piece where the seam is, all right? Where we folded over that 1-inch piece that's back here, I'm considering that my back side, just in case for some reason you might see where that 1-inch piece is, which you can't, but if for some reason you could, okay? So I'm going to consider this my back side. So on the other 3 sides, I'm going to take my 1/2-inch tearaway tape, and at the top of my vase, I'm going to go really close to the edge, and I'm going to run that tape, and then I'm going to cut it off. Hopefully you saw that, okay? Just like that. And now you're probably saying, well, why don't you just run it all the way around? Well, you'd probably see it if we did that. So though we're not going to do that. You'd probably see it on the corners. So we're just going to do that like so. And then the third side here, or the second side, however you want to look at it. And now we're going to go to our back piece. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape across the top too, like I did the other ones, just to hold it in place. Oops. Alright, and then on my back piece along the bottom, I'm going to go ahead and do the tearaway tape there like I did on the other pieces. Okay, so there's our tearaway tape on our front and 2 sides, and then our back piece. I'm going to go ahead and burnish this down here. And I'm not going to fold or do anything to the top of this one, because you'll see why. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with our front side. And we're going to go ahead and lay it down. I'm going to take my piece here and take off the tearaway tape on my vase part, and I'm going to run, let's use this glue here, my art glitter glue. I'm going to run just a really small bead of glue where my tape's going to go, and we're going to line up the front piece along the bottom and along the sides. Okay, so we have that tape there that'll make it stick right away, and then that art glitter glue, which will make a really good permanent hold. Alright, now we're going to twist it to the side, and we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to tear off my paper backing on my tearaway tape, a thin bead of glue. Now you could use any liquid glue that you like, you know, just depending on what you like. I could use my 3-in-1 glue, but that takes a little bit longer to dry than the art glitter glue, so that's why I decided to use that. Alright, and then let's flip it over to the other side. Remember, this is our back side, so we're just focusing on our front and 2 sides. So, same thing. And really, these go together pretty fast when you like cut out all your pieces and everything, and after you've done one, I mean, they're like really super fast to make. It's the flowers that take a while. But you could just do punch flowers. You wouldn't have to do flowers like I did. Okay, so there's our 3 sides, just like so. Alright, so let's let them set up for a second here. and go ahead and work on our other back piece. And you're like, another back piece? Yeah. We're going to put another back piece in our vase. It's this piece right here. What this does is it gives us a backdrop, I guess you could say, to your flowers. So that if you can see through the flowers, this is what you'll see. It also adds stability to the vase, and you know, it gives it more height, so you have more room to write a sentiment. You could decorate it and so on. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on this piece. So this piece I cut out of chipboard again, and it's 2 1/4 by 8 inches. And the reason I went with 2 1/4 instead of 2 1/2 was because by the time you get all that chipboard in there and stuff, you have to allow a little space for this to slide in. Now, I decided on 2 1/4, and it leaves me a little bit of extra room there on the sides, and I'm okay with that. If it was too much for you, go ahead and measure and decide. Maybe you want to do, you know, 2 1/8 or something like that. That's fine. So I decided on 2 1/4 by 8, and I'm going to go ahead and cover it. And I decided to use this paper right here. You can see it. It's from the same paper pad. Really cute. I don't know, I keep trying to put my pin back in my art glitter glue. Alright, so we are going to first cover that with a piece of 3 inches by 6 inches. Alright, and that's going to cover the inside part. And if you look down in there, it doesn't go all the way to the bottom. But why should I? You're not going to see it anyway, and that's a waste of paper. So I just cut enough so that if there was a little space and you could see down in there, that, you know, you'd see just a little bit of paper. So anyway, I cut it 3 inches by 6 inches, and I'm going to take my piece of chipboard and I am going to just glue it down and leave space all the way around it to fold it up. Okay? So let's put some 3-in-1 glue, and I'm just going to put it on my paper because I'm not really sure how far down it's going to go. So put it on there, and there we go. Okay, left a space all the way around. Just going to kind of rub it so we get good coverage. And now I'm going to miter my corners to fold them. And you can just eyeball it and cut them and just leave like 1/8 of an inch on each corner so you get a nice clean corner like so. Or you can be like me and make your own miter thing to cut your corners. And so this is what I came up with. I just used chipboard, and I cut a square, and I cut a diagonal, and I measured out to where 1/8 of an inch would be, and I just made a square. I don't know how to describe it. And so that gives me a pattern to miter my corners. I didn't want to pay on Etsy, you know, someone $10 when it was something I could make myself out of scraps. So it is actually 1/8 of an inch, and it looks big. It does look big. So I'm going to cut on the inside of that pencil line. Alright, and I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay, just like so. Okay. And now I want to loosen up those fibers on that paper, so I'm just going to take an embossing tool with a pretty small ball on the end of it. Or I could use my scoring tool or my bone folder and do the same thing. You don't have to have the embossing tool like this. Alright, so then I'm just going to kind of bend it up, bend it over, and do the same on the other side. And bend it over. And I'm also going to do it on that tip there, the very end. Alright, so I'm going to, I forgot the word. I'm going to glue, there we go. I'm going to glue the sides down of my paper. So, I'm just going to kind of bend it back a little bit. I'm going to put the glue on my paper, and I'm going to use art glitter glue. And I put it on the paper, because that way I know exactly where to put it. Okay? And I'm just going to glue it down. That seems monotonous. I just push it down. Alright, and it holds pretty fast. I'm going to do the other side. Same thing. Put our glitter glue. Push it down. Kind of hold it. You could use your bone folder, but then if any glue leaks out, like right up here, your bone folder gets sticky. And then you gotta clean it off. Haven't learned anything, have I? Alright, so now I'm just where those little corners are, those little tiny triangles, right there from where we mitered it. I just push down with my bone folder on those corners, just to push them down nice, so when I fold it over, it gives a nice little finish there. So, again, I'm just going to add our glitter glue to that little edge, fold it over, hold it until it adheres, and our glitter glue is pretty fast. Alright, so there's our one side covered, and then I cut a piece that is 2 1/8 by 5 3/8 to cover the back side, and that way it covers the edge and you don't see all of this mess. I'm just going to use my 3-in-1 glue. Get the edges. And go ahead and glue it on, just center it on the edges there. The 3-in-1 glue gives me a little bit more time to move the paper around. And then there we go. Alright, so the back inside piece of our vase, this piece is done. Alright, so we'll put that off to the side. Now, let's work on the base while we're at it, shall we? Alright, I measured around my base. Remember, it's 2.5 inches for each side. And I just wanted a small base, as you can see here. It's just like 1/8 of an inch around. So I cut my piece of chipboard 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And I'm going to cover that with cardstock, the same color as the base of my vase. And I just cut a piece that's 4 inches by 4 inches. I just used kind of what was left over from there and went from there. So we're going to glue this down on top of this 4x4 piece of cardstock, and I'm going to put glue there and just center it. Doesn't have to be perfect because it's going to be all be covered. And then again, my handy dandy little miter tool. See? Just make your own. Probably have to do a video on how to make that. Super easy. If you want me to make a video on how to do that, leave the comments below. I'd be more than happy to show you how I made it. Alright, so here's our final miter there. And then again, I'm going to cut on the inside of that pencil line. Just a little bit. I think the storm's moving away. It's getting quieter outside. Okay, and then again, I'm just going to take my embellishment tool and I'm going to go around my square here and soften the fibers in the paper. And then the last side here. Alright, and then we're just going to kind of bend them up. And again, use our art glitter glue. Put it on the paper. Push it down. And hold it for a second. And then again, we're going to do the opposite side though, so that we get a nice fold when we fold these over. Alright? So, you always do the opposite side when you're gluing something like this with mitered corners. Just a little tip. Okay? So, and I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to go right up to that edge and I'm going to push down and give that a nice little crease. Same on that side. And then all the way around. So each of those 4 corners. Okay? And then we're just going to glue. I'll go ahead and put glue on this one too while we're at it. Fold it up. Hold it down for a sec. Until it sticks. I hope I'm not shaking the camera like crazy. Just pushing really hard. Okay, so there we've covered the outside of our base, and I cut a piece that is 2.5 by 2.5 to put on the outside of our base, the bottom side, to cover up all our edges there, make it look nice and neat. And I'm just going to center it, press down on this side, and there we go. Got a nice pretty little base there. Okay, so let's continue to work on our vase. Okay, so I know the bottoms are good and dry, so let's start with the front piece. Alright, so the front piece, I put a piece of the tearaway tape up here, remember, 1/2 inch, and this is scored at 2 1/4 inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, take off the paper to the tearaway tape. I'm doing this left-handed, so we'll see if I can do it. I did it! I'm going to rotate it this way. I'm going to put a thin line of art glitter glue along that tape. And then I'm not going to glue anything else down yet. I'm going to take where this 2 1/4 inch flap is, I'm going to put glue on it, and I'm just using my 3-in-1 glue and covering that. Alright, now we want to get our sides out of the way, and what we're going to do is, and hopefully I can do this so you can see, is I'm going to put my flap in here, alright, and I'm going to push it down in so that scored line is at the top of my vase, and then I'm going to push down the top. I'm going to push it down inside too. And it's only 1/2 inch tearaway tape, right? So it's only going to stick 1/2 inch, alright? And that's what gives us our bow here. Now, I'm going to make sure that I push down my paper inside. And you can always use your bone folder if you want. Just make sure that it's down good and sealed. And then what I do to hold it, and make sure that it's completely across, pressed down, okay, is I just put a clothespin on there just to hold it. Alright? And then we're going to do the same on the sides. Really easy. And since this side hasn't been done yet, I can lay it down. So, I'm going to take the tearaway tape away. I'm going to put a thin line of art glitter glue where my 2 1/4 inch little square is up here. I'm going to put glue up to that score line. You could even put glue on that score line if you wanted to, because it's going to be right at the very top. Alright, and then you're going to kind of hold this part out of the way, and you're going to slide that 2 1/4 inch square in, and slide it down the side until your score line hits the top of your vase. And then you're just going to press it down, because remember, it's only going to hold until you get that quarter, that 1/2 inch. And then you just want to make sure that your paper is down good and firmly there on the inside. Push down against the top, and it's pushed down all the way to the corners, and then just take a paper clip, clothespin. Alright, and the last side. This is a little trickier because you don't have a flat surface to lay it on, but it's not that tricky. I mean, it's still pretty easy. Your art glitter glue is not going to run, so you just kind of, you know, do the same thing. I'm going to put right there in the score line too. Same thing. Slide it down that side. If you get glued on the side, so what? It's inside your vase, right? And bring it down so the score line hits the top of your vase. And then you're going to push it down so that art glitter glue catches and your tearaway tape catches. And then you're going to take a clothespin. And there you go. Alright. Then you let it dry. And while it's drying, we can work on our back piece. Now, you can do your back piece first. You can do it last. You can do it middle, whatever. I put tape along the bottom. Remember the tearaway tape. I put tearaway tape up here at the top. Alright? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take the tearaway tape paper off the bottom there. And I'm going to put a line of art glitter glue down here. And I'm going to take my tearaway tape off at the top. And I'm going to put a line of art glitter glue up there too. And then the rest of it, I'm just going to put my 3-in-1 glue down, because this one we're not bulging out. This is going to be flat. Okay. So I line my bottom up, my sides up. Oops. Just like so. Press it down. And then just let it set up for a minute here. Let our sides set up. You can lay it on its back. Put your bone folder in there and make sure that it's adhered really well. Keep checking on your vase here, making sure that those edges are staying glued. And then we're going to take these off real quick, because what we're going to do is we're going to fold this piece down. And you know what? You don't even have to glue it. It just stays. And you're going to glue another piece on there anyway, so why waste your glue, right? So I just make sure that I got a nice fold. And there we go. So there's the outside of our vase. So let's go ahead and glue it on the bottom. So on our bottom piece, we have the back side, which is the side with the piece we glued on, and then the solid side. So we want the solid side up, because that's what people are going to see. So let's put some 3-in-1 glue on the bottom. You could use your art glitter glue. You could use hot glue. I just like that little extra time to make sure I have it centered. And then you're just going to place your vase on there. Remember, it's about 1/8 of an inch around all edges. I'm going to face it towards me here so I can see what I'm doing. Make sure we're centered. Alright, look at that. We got our bottom on. Now, let's go ahead and glue in our back piece. So, remember, our back piece has a solid side, and then it has a piece where we glued that piece to cover up our edges. This piece that we used to cover up our edges is going to go on the outside, so the pretty side is going to go on the inside. Alright? So, what I did was I just put some glue. I didn't go all the way up. I just put some glue on the back side there, and then I put some glue, and I don't know if you can see it, on the inside of my vase, there on the back side, towards the top. And all you do is you slide this in till it hits the bottom, and then you're going to center it on that back side. Because remember, it's smaller, depending on how you cut it, it's smaller than the size of your vase. And I'm just going to take my bone folder, go down in there, and make sure that's adhered really good. And now I'm moving it a little bit. I can see that. It's alright. So we're just going to come up here. Actually, no, I didn't. I thought I did. And we're going to make sure that it's centered. And then what I did was I just put my glue bottle in there for a little bit, just to let it kind of set up. And while you're doing that, I'm going to put some feet on my vase, like I did this one. And this one I just used pearls. You could use whatever you wanted, or you could not do anything. Completely up to you. But you know me. So, or maybe you don't, but I always put an extra little drop of glue, which is where I'm going to put my bling. And I got these real pretty, huge, flat back pearls. And I'm going to put them on here in center. And then I'm going to do the same for the bottom. Just a couple drops. And then put some pearls. And I think I can take my glue bottle out now. Just kind of center those pearls there on the bottom. And my one last one. Alright, just like that. We've got our pearls on the bottom. Do you see that? So it gives us some nice feet. We've got our vase all put together. And there you go. Now we can put our floral foam in there and go ahead and put our flowers in. Now when you put your floral foam in, just take your hot glue gun and put some glue in the bottom of your vase and then drop this in. Make sure you cut it so that it fits first, but that way your styrofoam won't fall out, your floral foam won't fall out, and then your flowers won't fall out. Alright? And you can decorate your vase if you want to. You could put ribbon around here and a bow, lace. You could bling it up. You could put ribbon, lace down here, whatever you'd like. And like I said before, you can put your sentiment on the back if you want to stamp something out. But this is going to make a great gift for mom, grandma, significant other. So, and it was really easy. Really easy. A little time consuming the first time you make it, but like I said, I ironed out all the bugs. Once I did that, it went together real fast. So, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you give it a try and make your own, because it's fun. Crafting is always fun. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, and I'm going to put my flowers in there and come back and show you what it looks like. So I'll be back in just a little bit. Hello besties, I'm back and I have finished my vase. And as you can see here, here's my little bouquet of flowers that I made. I also stamped out some butterflies and added them and put some little bling on them and some Wink of Stella to make them sparkle. And then I also decorated my vase. So let me zoom out here a little bit so we can get it all in frame. I put some ribbon down here at the bottom with some decorative trim. Up at the top is lace with a bow, and I don't know if you can tell in the front, but in the back you can see here I put a row of pearls. And then I stamped happy birthday to you, and this is a happy birthday bouquet. And on the bottom is my created with love. So I do have some room to sign it there, but I'm going to make a card to go with this. So I think I'll just put my sentiment in the card, but that's what it looks like. I think it turned out pretty. I hope she likes it. I know I do. So that's it. That's it for the project, for our series of flower videos and the video on the vase. I hope you enjoyed the series. Give me a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel. That would be awesome. And happy crafting. And I will see you for the next video, which I make a card to go with this present. So I will see you next time. Thank you. Bye-bye.